Welcome in everyone to the Larsonland podcast. I'm your host, Sawyer Hill, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Dylan Bradshaw. We come in here every single week and talk about all things involving the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Young Money Kyle Larson. Dylan, we're back to 36th place finishes for Kyle. Kind of the expected outcome at a speedway style track there at the Atlanta Motor Speedway last night. Um, Not much to say about last night's race. I think a lot of people thought it was a good race. I mean, Kyle ran good early on, ended up finishing second, almost grabbing that stage one win, but it was troublesome from that point forward.
Yeah, I mean, just starting out, he had that speed. Starting eighth, he got up to the front there. At the end of the stage, he was kind of neck and neck with I think it was Blaney. Almost got that stage win. Just really short photo finish almost, but hoping for that stage win. We just haven't really gotten many this year. So any just good stage finishes at all this year, we just haven't really gotten any. So that'd have been helpful. But and immediately in stage two, we got hit with some bad luck. Got caught in a little spin out. Washed up the track a little bit, got into Jones, just spun out. Kyle went in, as we all know, changed the one tire, tried to get it back out there and save the lap, but as he tried to get back on the track going around, the whole car pretty much just exploded. The tire exploded on the right front. Fender was just shot. Everything was damaged. Had to go back in. Team had to fix it up, put bare bond all over the fender. So just terrible situation. Everyone was kind of bashing Cliff. Why didn't you take all four tires? What? Just screaming at him all on social media. But I mean, he was trying to make that play to not go down a lap, maybe hope for another caution later on, get all the tires changed. But just didn't work out trying to make that strategy call. But yeah, I mean, it was just terrible from there on out. Just didn't finish the race. And at 36, like you said, it's unfortunate though. I think the race really did turn out pretty well. I mean, it was
Yeah.
getting really racy there as the night came. I don't know if it was because everyone knew the rain was coming. They were just battling like it was the end of the race. But I mean, I was actually kind of locked into the race. There was tons of lead changes. Um, One on the top of my head, Truex, he was running like way up on the wall. Just he went from like 12th to third in like a few laps. It was just there's a lot of exciting moves there at the end. Like I said, I don't know if it's because of the rain or what, but the track definitely did get really racy. Best Atlanta product of racing, I would say, since the reconfiguration with the super speedway style. But it's just unfortunate we didn't get to finish it out. Rain took it. Byron got the win, his fourth win of the year. So yeah, just unfortunate Larson as always on super speedway.
Yeah, and I do have to agree with you. The product of racing was actually not that bad at Atlanta. I mean, for a super speedway race, I know me and you, we both don't really like watching those style of races, and for me, I think it's a little bit better than the product that we see at Daytona and Talladega, just because of the shorter track. Guys are mixing it up just a little bit more. I think also the rain did play a role in that, as you said. The guys thought the race was going to end at any moment, so they had to race like it was the end the whole way through. So that contributed to the race being good. But man, I've thought a lot the past day or like since the race about the Cliff Daniels thing, and everybody's been bashing Cliff on social media for his call to take only the right rear tire after Kyle spun near the entry of pit lane. And uh, I think that Cliff probably should have put on two right side tires. I mean, putting on both, if you're going to change the right rear, you got to change the right front too. I don't think it takes any longer to change both tires. I mean, in a normal pit stop, it's going to take them just as long. There's a front tire changer and a rear tire changer, so it's going to take them about the same time just to change both. So I think they should have definitely done that. But hindsight's 2020, and they're in a tight situation. They don't, it's like you're running a 2 minute drill in football and you have no timeouts left and you're trying to charge down the field. I mean, every little second counts, and they were just trying to save that from going a lap down. And unfortunately, that, like you said, the right front tire blew, and it just wasn't Kyle's day. It wasn't the five team's day. I think Cliff makes a lot of good decisions throughout the season that make up for it. So you can't. I mean, look at Cliff's decision at North Wilkesboro to put tires on, and Kyle charged through the field there. I know Kyle's had an incident there that kind of put him in that position, but Cliff was tasked with a decision there, and he made a really good one, which ended up leading to a race win. So not every decision is going to be a one that everybody likes, but and it's not always going to pan out. But I think overall, Cliff just does what he can do to put the 5 team in the best situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much always the case. You know, if the tire didn't explode, everyone would have just been fine. But
Right.
because something went wrong, everyone just hops on them. So, I mean, there's been so many cases of it before. You know, end of the race, you know, some guys take two tires, some take four. Everyone's questioning the strategy. It either works out or it doesn't. So, I mean, that's just the name of the game, taking a gamble to try to put the car in the best position. And I mean, you know, ultimately it just didn't work out. So, just got to move on. Unfortunately, broke the top 10 streak Kyle had going. Had some good runs the previous weeks, but you know, it's nothing. As Larson fans, it's just kind of expected at this point. We know what the super speedways bring. You know, we'll run good, we'll have some good speed, and then something always happens. So I don't get my hopes up too much at it. Just kind of got to push forward, and you know, in this case, we have the million to look forward to. A lot of dirt racing coming up, so we'll have that, and then New Hampshire after that. So just kind of got to move forward and put it in the rear view.
Absolutely. So, kind of diving into moving on from Atlanta and diving into the next week of racing for Kyle Larson. I'll put the schedule up on the screen right now. Very busy over the next 6 days for Kyle Larson. Things kicking off next or tomorrow night, Tuesday night at the Attica Raceway Park for the Brad Doty Classic with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, and then it's right into the Eldora Million on Wednesday, Dylan, with the preliminary night, Thursday, the Million to win race, and then Friday and Saturday right back at it with the Outlaws at Eldora for the Kings Royal. $175,000 to win on Saturday, and then like you said, right into New Hampshire on Sunday with NASCAR. So he's going to be traveling back and forth this weekend. What are you most looking forward to? Is it definitely the Million?
I mean, you kind of got it too. I mean, it's we've never seen something like it. Talked about it last week with the Houston High Bank Nationals. That was the biggest event at the time, and then they immediately announced the million. So, I mean, the more sprint car events that just go up in price, it's just more on the line. Obviously, it's a bigger event. So, really looking forward to it. I think he has a good chance. We always talk about him and Rico are kind of our 1-2 punch this year in sprint cars. They've kind of been super fast this year. So tons of momentum. I mean, Larson, he's racked up some good finishes. Third in the last night of the Houston Tie Bank, got the win on the first night. The high limit sprint car win streak. I think that was 3 in a row. So
Yeah.
he's definitely got the momentum going into it. I think him and Silva got the car, locked down. So I mean, we'll only see. We got Attica, like you said, before the million. So if they need to get anything, situated there, they got that. So yeah, just super excited. Just a tons of races on the schedule.
Yeah, so I'll kind of pull up that entry list for Eldora right now. 82 entries, a massive sprint car field for that race on Thursday night. All the best drivers from around the country going to be there. Obviously, Kyle Larson and all the main guys in the World of Outlaws, the All Stars. I mean, this is everybody together all in one place, Dylan. We don't get to see this too many times throughout the season. Maybe the Knoxville Nationals and a couple other occasions. But going into this race, I think my pick definitely. I think it has to be Kyle because you look at 11 starts for him on the season in the sprint car. He's won 5 times. I mean, there's not any other guy out there in sprint car racing that's coming into this race with that kind of win percentage. I know it's a small sample size, but he's been good. I mean, he's been really good, and obviously their half mile stuff isn't always the best with Silva's 57, but um, I think he's going to be able to translate some of that speed over. And you look at other guys like Brent Marks who won the historical big one and won the Kings Royal last year. He's coming into this race not as hot as what we saw him in 2022. He's kind of slacked off a little bit. Rico's another one we're looking at. He's been super consistent. Some of the results haven't been there in terms of wins. He's had a couple big ones slip away, but it's a lot of good cars coming into this race. David Gravel coming off of the big time win at the Houston High Bank Nationals. So lots of different guys to choose between. Dylan, who are you still sticking with your boy Rico, or are we gonna switch it up for your pick?
I mean, I obviously got to go Kyle, always number one. I always back Rico. We've been backing Rico all year. He's just been super quick. I think him and Kyle, like I just said, are kind of the 1-2 in terms of being super consistent this year. I kind of want to throw a little dark horse candidate out there. I think Buddy Kofoid can get it done. I mean, he's been super quick. He's had a lot of adversity this year, just bouncing around with the different teams. So, but if he can get up there up front, I think he can kind of control the lead. He got kind of screwed at Cusits. I think he definitely had that one, locked up till he had the trouble. But yeah, I think he's my dark horse candidate for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a good pick there with Buddy Kofoid. I mean, yeah, like you said at Houston, it's just an awesome run there, and then just heartbreak, absolute heartbreak there towards the end of that one. But, in that '83 junior car with Roth Motorsports, I mean, he's gonna be fast. We know that, and Buddy seems to be able to get in anything and be one of those guys that can get in anybody's car and any track and just really be quick. So looking forward to see what he can do. But for me, I think what I'm looking most forward to, and maybe my dark horse pick for the million on Thursday is Darren Pittman, driving the Alex Bowman Racing number 55 car. For me, I mean, we've seen that 55 car qualify so good at a lot of tracks with Alex Bowman behind the wheel. I mean, Alex seems to struggle a little bit more when it comes to heat race and feature stuff, but in terms of raw speed, that car is always super fast. It's a rocket, and this format, which we're going to get to in a second here, it's really dependent on qualifying. We saw at the Houston High Bank Nationals how if you qualified really good in a night, that could lead to really good things to come. I mean, Kyle was good in qualifying on night one there at Houston and ended up winning the feature. On night two, not so good in qualifying, got caught up in some other stuff, and ended up not even finishing that race. So I think as I kind of bring that to light, let's look at the format for this event. Wednesday night, um, prelim night. Only one prelim night for the Eldora Million. Kind of different from the Houston Time Bank Nationals, but similar in the terms of points for qualifying, points for the heat race, points for the B and the A mains. And inverts in the heat races, just like at Houston's, points accrued throughout all of this, lining the field up in two separate 25 lap features at the end of the night, and of course all of these points transferring over into Thursday night, where they will be placed into six heat races, with the top three transferring into the A main. Dylan, this format, I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We weren't really a fan of the Houston's format, but with it being condensed into one night, no drop for one night, every lap matters. I mean, that's kind of what they have on here for Eldora. Every lap matters points. Do you think this is a little bit better of a format?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit cleaner. With Houston, I was definitely a little bit confused. Everyone has to just kind of, stay glued to Twitter to figure out who's advancing in what spot. So, I mean, it's a little bit more, condensed and a little bit easier to understand. But I do understand why they do stuff like this for these, big events. Just, kind of gotta, I don't know, make it a little more complex to make every guy have a chance, especially with such a stacked field. I mean, 82 guys, the best guys in sprint car racing going at it. So I do understand why they just don't have, just a normal night, your 4 or 5, 6 heat races, just going to the main event. So, I mean, it does make sense. But yeah, I do think it is a little bit cleaner than the Houston's format.
Yeah, and I mean for me, looking at this too, another big thing that I like about this, and we talked about this before we came, on the podcast here, is that there's not only just we see redraws all the time for the top six starting spots, but there's also redraws for positions 7 through 12, and also for 13 through 18. So that's your second place and third place finishers in their heat races. So that that it's very very interesting. I mean, we're not used to seeing that, and if you finish second in heat number 6, you're not necessarily starting 18th. You have a chance to start 13th, and there is some opportunity to start a little bit better in the feature. So looking forward to that. I mean, I guess the only thing I don't like about the format is the break on or near lap 20. They're going to allow the teams to change tires at that break, and I think that kind of takes a little bit away. Obviously, we have to add fuel. They can't make it that full distance on fuel, but allowing the teams to change tires, Dylan, what are your thoughts on that? And I think it kind of takes away from the race just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit. It's kind of like NASCAR with their stage break cautions, and I don't know. I think it'll definitely juggle it up a little bit, make it a little bit harder for those guys up front to keep the race going smooth. Hitting that lap traffic and making it a little more difficult for the leader. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, they're not going to make it on fuel, so I mean, I guess that's the only thing they could do there. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how the race paces out. You know how the track will be. You know whether or not it'll be really much passing at all. Whether or not it's just follow the leader. I mean, who knows? It's Eldora. You know, most of the time it's just kind of follow the leader. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, definitely hoping for better conditions than what we saw at the Houston Tie Bank Nationals in the feature there. I know obviously that was plagued by weather. Knock on wood, we're not gonna hopefully not get any weather for Thursday at least. I mean, I have looked at the forecast a little bit. There is some rain in the forecast for Thursday as of right now, but kind of hoping that that doesn't come about. Um, Again, big week of racing for Kyle Larson. Attica Raceway Park tomorrow night, then 2 nights for the Eldora Million, 2 more nights at Eldora for the Kings Royal, the night before the Kings Royal and the Kings Royal with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Um, as always, the coverage, it's going to be here on Larsonland. We're going to have lots of coverage every single night. So if you don't have Dirt Vision, if you don't have Flow, make sure you stay tuned into Larsonland on Twitter. We're also on Threads now. Threads came out. We're close to, I think, 400 followers on Threads. Dylan, what's your opinion on Threads so far?
And if it came out the day that Twitter was shuffling out all the rate limit tweets, I think I would have been on it a lot more. I mean, I hope they don't ever do anything like that again. I was kind of in a mess
Yeah,
that day just going through Twitter. That's where I find all my news for all sports, you know,
right.
baseball, football, racing, hockey. I mean, everything that I follow. And it's just, I couldn't see anything. And so, I mean, hopefully it'll be a good platform. Maybe, I don't know, like it could be just like a fad, like all these other apps do. Like every year there's that new app that everyone just goes to and it dies within a week. I don't know, but maybe because it's linked with Meta, linked with Instagram, it'll be a little bit more successful. We'll see if Twitter does anything to kind of give it that boost to where everyone's using it. But yeah, just gonna post on there and try to keep everything active and get on as many platforms as we can.
Yeah, no, I'm all in for more platforms, and obviously if we can promote our brand a little bit more, that's always a good thing, and trying to just provide news to a different audience of people. I mean, if there's people that were not on Twitter that are now on Threads, that's cool, and we can reach a larger audience. That's ultimately our goal, to provide coverage of Kyle's racing across every single platform there is. That's why we've started this podcast to come on YouTube and talk about it on here, and just provide a different perspective on things that isn't available in the current space. So um, big time coverage coming up. We'll have all the results, all the posts, everything, mostly on Twitter and Threads. We're gonna try and keep up on Threads. It's kind of hard right now with not being able to schedule posts, and they also don't have a desktop version as well. So kind of tricky there, but we'll keep everybody up to date as much as possible on every single platform.
Yeah, of course. And as always, thanks everyone for all the support. It's going to be a busy week, as we've said. So make sure you stay locked into all the posts. Show some support on those, like, comment, everything. So just bringing our account forward to other people and broadening the support for Kyle Larson. That's the goal. Bringing a bigger fan base to him and supporting him. So yeah, thanks everyone for all the support as always. And we'll see you this week during all the coverage.
Absolutely. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and listening to today's show. We'll be back again next week to recap, hopefully, Kyle Larson's win at the Eldora Million and NASCAR Cup Series action from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Only 7 more races remaining before the playoffs start for NASCAR. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please follow our podcast so you don't miss a thing. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and we will see you in the next episode.